Welcome back to the Virtual Reality Reconstructionist, the podcast where we explore the intersection of forensic innovation, immersive technology, and the relentless pursuit of truth. I'm your host, Roger Ryan Ryder, and today we're doing something a little different. This episode 33, has been crafted with the help of artificial intelligence. From scripting to voice generation, we've collaborated with advanced tools, including NotebookLM, to explore the remarkable ways AI is shaping not just how we make podcasts. We dive into a groundbreaking topic: how 3D scanning and virtual reality are transforming forensic investigations. As technology continues to evolve, forensic science is undergoing a digital revolution. Gone are the days of purely manual analysis. We're entering a new era, one where AI algorithms detect decomposition stages, machine learning analyzes skeletal structures, and virtual reality allows juries to step inside crime scenes without ever leaving the courtroom. In this episode, we'll walk through the powerful convergence of AI, machine learning, 3D scanning, and VR, examining real-world case studies, breakthroughs in crash and crime scene reconstruction, and the ethical considerations that come with these game-changing tools. Whether you're a seasoned investigator, a forensic science student, or just a curious mind, this episode is packed with insights into the future of digital forensics. And yes, this very voice you're hearing was AI-assisted, recorded and produced using the latest synthesis tools. It's a testament to just how far we've come and where we're headed. So buckle in and join us for a journey through the evolving landscape of forensic technology. Let's reconstruct reality.
Okay, so you know how they always show crime scenes in movies and TV, like the yellow tape and the guy with a magnifying glass? Well, forget all that.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving into the real revolution happening in forensics. Buckle up, because we're talking AI, machine learning, 3D scanning that's crazy detailed, and even VR that puts you right in the middle of the action.
Right in the thick of it. And I've got to say, the material you sent over, fascinating stuff.
Yeah, we've got a lot to unpack, but let's start broad. What exactly is changing, and why should anyone care?
For years, and generations, forensic science was all about meticulous manual work, handwriting analysis, hours and hours just to compare a few samples. Or how about combing through endless security footage?
Yeah, so slow.
These methods, they're fundamental, sure, but they're also limited, time-consuming, prone to human error, and sometimes even unconscious bias creeps in.
And that's where AI and ML come in, right? It's like they're supercharging the whole process.
Exactly. Think about it. Instead of just reacting to a crime scene, AI can proactively analyze data, finding those subtle patterns a human might miss. It's like, imagine sifting through millions of emails or text messages.
Oh, my head hurts just thinking about it.
A human analyst would take weeks, months even. But in AI, it can pinpoint connections, anomalies, suspicious activity, all in a fraction of the time. That changes the game completely.
Okay, so that's the data side of things.
Yeah.
But what about actually capturing the crime scene itself? That's where the 3D scanning comes in, right?
Yeah, 3D scanning, it's like creating a perfect digital twin of the scene. Every tiny detail, every piece of evidence, precisely captured in 3D space. And once you've got that digital copy, it's preserved forever, no degradation, no contamination. You can revisit it, analyze it, share it with other experts, all without touching the original scene.
It's almost like hitting save on the whole crime scene.
Right, a permanent record, exactly.
And then there's VR. We used to think of VR as just for video games, but it's clearly so much more than that now. How is VR being used in forensics?
VR is bringing a whole new level of immersion to forensic investigations. Instead of just looking at photos or videos, investigators, lawyers, even jury members can actually step into a virtual reconstruction of the crime scene. They can walk around, examine the evidence from any angle, get a real feel for the spatial relationships. That's a level of understanding you simply can't get from traditional methods.
So it's not just about making things faster or prettier. It sounds like this combination of technologies is fundamentally changing how forensic science works.
It's about moving towards a more data-driven, objective approach. You see, traditional forensics often relies on human interpretation, which can be subjective. But with AI and ML, you're grounding the analysis in hard data, in measurable patterns. This brings a level of objectivity and reliability that's crucial, especially when it comes to court proceedings.
And the really cool part is how these technologies aren't just operating separately. They're all feeding into each other. It's like this interconnected web of forensic tools.
Exactly. It's about the synergy between them. Imagine a 3D scanner captures the crime scene. Then AI analyzes that data and identifies, say, an almost invisible trace evidence pattern. Then investigators can put on VR headsets and actually walk through that scene with the AI highlighting those key pieces of evidence. It's a holistic approach that gives a much deeper, more nuanced understanding than any single technology could provide.
So let's zoom in on some specifics. How is AI actually improving 3D scanning itself? I've heard it's making the scans more accurate, especially when it comes to things like faces and bodies.
Yeah, the precision we're seeing is remarkable. Think about facial recognition, right? Well, now imagine that same kind of AI being used during a 3D facial scan. The algorithms analyze the geometry of the face in real time, making tiny adjustments to ensure every detail is captured with incredible fidelity. And it's not just faces. The same principle applies to body scans. AI identifies anatomical landmarks, takes super accurate measurements, making the data incredibly valuable for identification or even biomechanical analysis.
So fewer mistakes, less room for human error, more reliable data overall. And I bet it's also speeding up the scanning process itself.
Oh, absolutely. You see, traditional 3D scanning often required a lot of manual calibration, multiple scans to get everything right. But with AI, the scanner becomes much smarter. It adapts to the unique contours of each face or body, automating those adjustments, making the whole process much faster and less reliant on the operator's skill.
So less fiddling around at the crime scene, which is always a good thing. And are these AI-powered scanners actually giving feedback to the operator in real time? Like saying, hey, you need to adjust the angle or something?
You got it. They're becoming more and more intelligent. For example, in a facial scan, the system might say, hey, the lighting isn't quite right, or ask the subject to slightly tilt their head. And with body scans, AI can detect errors or artifacts as they happen, which means you can fix them right away, ensuring you get the best possible data from the start.
So it's like having a built-in expert double-checking your work as you go. What about the future of AI and 3D scanning in forensics? What are some of the things we can expect to see?
Well, one thing that's really exciting is the potential to create these incredibly detailed 3D reconstructions that combine data from multiple sources. Imagine a system that takes the 3D scan data and automatically integrates it with information from smartphones found at the scene, security footage, even environmental sensor data. It's creating a truly holistic picture of the crime with unprecedented levels of detail and context.
Wow, that's wild. And I also read about how AI is being used in forensic odontology, which is basically dental identification. How does that work?
So, in cases where you need to identify someone based on their dental records, 3D scanning can create highly accurate models of their teeth and jaw. Then, AI algorithms can analyze these models, automatically comparing them to existing dental records. It speeds up the identification process and makes it much more reliable because you're taking a lot of the human guesswork out of it.
So it's all about making the analysis faster, more accurate, and less prone to bias. And it sounds like the trend is moving away from just capturing data to getting instant analysis during the capture process itself.
Absolutely. The goal is to have tools that are intelligent, user-friendly, and provide real-time analysis so you know you're getting the best possible data from the very beginning.
And this focus on integrating different types of data, like the 3D scan with phone records and environmental data, it really helps to create a much richer, more complete understanding of the crime scene, doesn't it?
Definitely. You're weaving together the spatial information with all these other layers of data, and that allows you to see connections and patterns that might have been missed if you were just looking at each piece of evidence in isolation. It's about understanding the whole story, the whole context of the crime.
Okay, so we've got our 3D scan, and it's full of incredible detail. Now, how do machine learning algorithms come into play? What are they actually doing with all that spatial data?
Well, think of ML as the brain that analyzes the data. It's able to sift through these massive 3D data sets, finding patterns and making predictions that would be almost impossible for a human to do.
So what kinds of things can ML actually do with 3D scan data? Can you give us some specific examples?
Sure, let's take decomposition analysis, for instance. AI can be trained on 3D models of human remains at different stages of decomposition, learning to recognize subtle changes in shape and surface characteristics. Combine that 3D data with environmental information like temperature and humidity, and ML can create really accurate predictions about how long a body has been decomposing. That's incredibly valuable information in a death investigation.
Wow, so AI is basically becoming a decomposition expert. What about other applications? I've heard that ML can even analyze tool marks from 3D scans.
Yeah, this is a really cool area. Think about it. Every tool leaves unique microscopic marks. Now, with 3D scanning, we can capture those marks in incredible detail. Then ML algorithms can be trained on a huge database of tool marks, learning to identify the subtle differences between them. So if you find a tool mark at a crime scene, you can scan it, and the AI can compare it to its database and tell you, with a high degree of accuracy, what kind of tool was used.
That's amazing. It's like having a fingerprint for every tool.
Right, it's adding this extra layer of objectivity to an area that used to rely heavily on subjective judgment.
Now, I also came across these terms, deep learning and 3D convolutional neural networks. They sound pretty complicated. What role do they play in analyzing 3D scan data?
Well, they're like the heavy hitters of AI, especially when dealing with complex 3D data. Think of a CT scan, for example. It's a 3D image of the inside of a body, and it contains a ton of information. Deep learning and 3D CNNs are specifically designed to analyze that kind of data, finding subtle patterns and anomalies that a human might miss. They're being used to determine the sex of skeletal remains, estimate age based on bone structure, and even reconstruct faces from skulls with incredible accuracy.
So it's like giving forensic investigators X-ray vision, in a way. And it's not just about individual pieces of evidence anymore. AI is helping with the whole process of crime scene reconstruction using 3D data, right?
Exactly. AI can analyze all the data from a 3D scan, finding patterns, identifying anomalies, and helping to piece together the sequence of events. It can even automate some of the more tedious tasks, like categorizing evidence or creating timelines based on spatial relationships. This frees up human analysts to focus on the more complex aspects of the case.
It's like AI is becoming a tireless assistant, helping to organize and make sense of all the information. And it feels like we're moving away from that old subjective way of doing forensic analysis towards something that's much more objective and data-driven.
Definitely. ML is bringing a level of precision and quantifiable analysis that wasn't possible before. It's minimizing bias and making the evidence much more reliable, which is essential for the whole justice system.
And these 3D CNNs, being able to analyze all that intricate volumetric data, they're really opening up new possibilities in fields like forensic medicine and pathology, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. They're allowing for much more detailed and accurate assessments of injuries, causes of death, all sorts of things.
It's like we're seeing this convergence of the physical and digital worlds in forensics. You've got the 3D scans capturing the physical scene, and then AI is analyzing all that data along with digital data from phones and computers, creating a much more complete picture of what happened.
Right. It's linking the physical evidence to the digital world, which is increasingly important in modern investigations. You can start to see the motives, the relationships, the digital footprints that lead up to a crime. It's a whole new level of understanding.
In this break, we're taking a moment to talk about something that could save your life. Triple R Investigations is proud to offer the Alive Active Shooter Survival Training, a powerful and practical course that teaches you how to respond when the unthinkable happens. Alive stands for Assess, Leave, Impede, Violence, and Expose. It's a method designed to keep you focused, decisive, and prepared in the face of an active shooter threat. Whether you're a business owner, school leader, church security team member, or just someone who wants to protect your loved ones, this class is for you. You'll learn how to recognize early warning signs, develop a survival mindset, make critical decisions under pressure, and escape or defend, depending on your environment. This isn't fear-mongering. It's preparation that empowers. We offer both in-person and online options, so there's a format that fits your schedule. Visit RRInvestigations.com to learn more, see available dates, and sign up today. All right, let's get back to episode 33, where we're uncovering how artificial intelligence, 3D scanning, and virtual reality are transforming forensic investigations.
Okay, so now let's talk about how AI and ML are being integrated directly into VR for forensic scene reconstruction and analysis. This is where it really starts to feel futuristic.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Imagine a VR environment that's not just visually realistic, but also intelligent. AI algorithms can process all sorts of data, from photos and videos to witness statements and 3D scans, and use that data to create incredibly accurate and interactive 3D models within the VR space. So you're not just looking at a static scene, you're interacting with a dynamic, data-rich environment.
So you could say reconstruct a complex crime scene, like a shooting, and actually see the bullet trajectories in VR.
Absolutely. You could even simulate different scenarios, move things around, and see how the evidence changes. It's a powerful tool for understanding the spatial relationships in the sequence of events.
And it's not just about visuals. AI is actually providing analytical assistance within the VR environment.
Right. AI can be trained to automatically identify and highlight key pieces of evidence in the virtual scene. Let's say you're looking for a specific type of gun or a bullet casing. The AI can instantly scan the whole scene and point it out to you. It's like having a virtual expert assistant by your side.
And I even read that AI can help to find connections between different crime scenes within VR.
Yeah, that's one of the more remarkable things. AI can analyze the data from multiple scenes, looking for similarities in things like bullet trajectories or the way evidence is placed. This can help to identify patterns that might indicate a serial offender or link seemingly unrelated crimes.
Wow, that's some serious crime-fighting tech.
Yeah.
And VR itself is such an intuitive way to experience a crime scene. It's not like looking at photos or diagrams. You're actually immersed in the environment.
Exactly. That level of immersion leads to a much deeper understanding. You can walk around, examine evidence from any angle, get a real feel for the space and how everything fits together.
It's like the difference between reading about a place and actually going there. So it's almost like AI is providing the brains and VR is providing the sensory experience, creating this powerful hybrid approach to forensic analysis.
I like that analogy. You've got AI doing the heavy lifting of data analysis, and VR is providing that intuitive, immersive way to experience and interact with the data.
And the AI can even give you real-time feedback as you're moving through the virtual scene, right? Like it could highlight potential inconsistencies or point out things you might have missed.
Absolutely. And you can even run different simulations, testing out different scenarios, and the AI can analyze the results on the fly and give you feedback. It's an incredibly powerful tool for investigation.
I even came across an example of using AI and VR to analyze data from autonomous vehicles involved in crashes. That sounds incredibly complex.
Oh, it definitely is. Autonomous vehicles generate a huge amount of data from all their sensors. AI is essential for processing all that data and reconstructing what happened. Then VR allows you to visualize the entire crash sequence in a way that's much more intuitive than just looking at graphs and charts. You can see the vehicle's movements, the environment, the decisions that were made, all in 3D space.
It's like being able to rewind and replay the accident from any angle. So it's clear that this combination of AI and VR is creating something far more powerful than just visualization. It's about creating intelligent virtual environments that actively support the analytical process.
Exactly. These virtual crime scenes are dynamic, interactive, and they're infused with the intelligence of AI. It's a whole new way of doing forensic analysis.
And for those really complex cases, like autonomous vehicle crashes where you've got mountains of data to sift through, this integrated approach must be invaluable.
Oh, it's absolutely essential. It would be practically impossible to understand those kinds of events without the help of AI and VR. The human brain just isn't equipped to process that much data in a meaningful way.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about how AI-powered VR simulations are being used for training forensic investigators and even presenting evidence in court. This has implications for both sides of the justice system.
Absolutely. When it comes to training, VR simulations are creating safe and controlled environments where investigators can practice their skills and learn from their mistakes without any real-world consequences. They can be exposed to a huge range of scenarios, from traditional crime scenes to complex digital crimes, and they can learn how to collect evidence, analyze the scene, and even interact with virtual suspects.
And with AI, the training can be tailored to each individual, right? Like the simulation can adjust based on how the trainee is performing.
Exactly. The AI can track the trainee's progress, provide personalized feedback, and even create scenarios that target specific skills or areas where they need improvement.
And it's also a great way to get teams working together, even if they're in different locations.
Yeah, multi-user VR environments allow teams to collaborate on investigations in a shared virtual space. They can communicate, share ideas, and coordinate their actions, which is essential for real-world investigations.
And then there's the use of VR in the courtroom. That's a really interesting development. How is it changing the way evidence is presented?
Well, traditionally, evidence in court has been presented through photos, diagrams, and witness testimony. But with VR, you can actually bring the jury to the crime scene virtually. They can walk through the environment, see the evidence in context, and get a much more visceral understanding of what happened.
It's like turning the courtroom into an immersive theater. And AI can play a role in guiding that experience, right? Like it could highlight key pieces of evidence or provide explanations as the jury is exploring the virtual scene.
Exactly. The AI can act as a virtual guide, ensuring that the jury sees the most important evidence and understands its significance. It can even adjust the perspective or provide different levels of detail based on what's most relevant to the case.
It's like having a super intelligent narrator for the crime scene. And it seems like this kind of immersive experience could have a big impact on how juries perceive the evidence and ultimately make their decisions.
Yeah, it's giving them a level of understanding that was never possible before. They're not just passively listening to testimony, they're actively engaging with the evidence. It's a much more powerful way to communicate complex forensic information.
So to sum up, what are the key advantages of combining AI, ML, 3D scanning, and VR in forensic investigations?
Well, the biggest one is accuracy. By reducing human error and increasing the precision of data analysis, these technologies are leading to more reliable findings, which is crucial for ensuring justice.
And it's also making the whole process much faster and more efficient, right?
Definitely. AI can automate a lot of the time-consuming analysis, and 3D scanning allows for quick and comprehensive data capture. This means investigations can be completed more quickly, which is good for everyone involved.
And what about the preservation of evidence? That must be a big benefit too.
Absolutely. With 3D scanning, you're creating a permanent digital record of the crime scene and the evidence, which can be revisited and analyzed without any risk of degradation or contamination.
And VR is adding a whole new dimension to how we understand crime scenes, isn't it?
It really is. The immersive nature of VR allows investigators to explore the scene in a way that's simply not possible with traditional methods. It's leading to a much deeper and more intuitive understanding of the spatial relationships and the sequence of events.
And overall, it seems like we're moving toward a more objective and scientific approach to forensics.
Definitely. AI and ML are taking a lot of the subjectivity out of the equation. They're providing data-driven insights, which is crucial for building a strong case and ensuring that the evidence is reliable and admissible in court.
And all this data being digital, it must make it easier for experts to collaborate and share their findings.
Oh, absolutely. Digital data can be easily shared, so experts from all over the world can work together on a case without having to be physically present.
It's really changing the whole landscape of forensic science. And from a cost perspective, it seems like AI-powered VR could actually save money in the long run, especially when it comes to training.
Yeah, once you've invested in the technology, it's much more cost-effective to run simulations than to create real-world training scenarios. And you can expose trainees to a much wider range of situations than you ever could in a traditional setting.
So it's really a win-win situation.
Mhm.
Better training, more efficient investigations, more accurate results. It's amazing to see how these technologies are coming together to revolutionize forensics.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time to be in this field, and we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Okay, so let's look ahead. What are some of the future trends and developments we can expect to see in the coming years?
Well, we can expect to see AI becoming even more sophisticated, capable of analyzing even more complex data in real time. Things like predicting decomposition rates with incredible accuracy, identifying subtle patterns of criminal behavior, even analyzing the data from swarms of drones to reconstruct a large-scale crime scene in incredible detail.
So AI is becoming more predictive, more proactive, helping to prevent crimes before they even happen.
Exactly. And 3D scanning technology will become even more portable and user-friendly, making it accessible to a wider range of law enforcement agencies. We might even see real-time 3D reconstructions overlaid onto augmented reality headsets, giving investigators immediate spatial data as they're walking through a crime scene.
So it's like the crime scene itself is becoming a data-rich environment, augmented by all this technology. And it sounds like AI is going to evolve from being a tool to becoming more of a partner for forensic investigators.
Definitely. AI will be able to synthesize information from all these different sources, make connections that humans might miss, and provide insights and recommendations that can help investigators solve cases more efficiently.
It's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in forensics. And it's important to remember that this isn't just about technology for technology's sake. It's about using these tools to enhance justice, to ensure that the truth is revealed, and that the guilty are held accountable.
Absolutely. These technologies have the potential to make a real difference in people's lives, to bring closure to victims and families, and to create a more just and equitable society.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of forensic science. We've seen how AI, ML, 3D scanning, and VR are transforming the field, making it more accurate, efficient, and objective than ever before. And the future looks even brighter, with even more exciting developments on the horizon. It's clear that these technologies are revolutionizing the way we investigate crimes and pursue justice.
And it's really raising some important questions about the nature of evidence, the role of technology in the legal system, and the very definition of truth in the digital age.
It's a lot to think about, and it's a conversation that we need to keep having as these technologies continue to evolve. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.
That wraps up another fascinating episode of the Virtual Reality Reconstructionist. Today, we explored the groundbreaking intersection of artificial intelligence, 3D scanning, and virtual reality, and how these technologies are not only enhancing forensic investigations, but reshaping how we deliver justice. From real-time scene analysis to immersive courtroom presentations, we are witnessing a digital transformation that is making investigations faster, more accurate, and more objective than ever before. A big thanks to our research partners and the AI tools that help generate and synthesize today's content, including NotebookLM, which supported the episode production process. If this episode sparked your curiosity, make sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. You can catch new episodes every other Wednesday right here or on your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget to follow us on social media and visit tripleorinvestigations.com for more resources, training opportunities from the field. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and keep reconstructing.